Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. That's how I used to greet the Fridays when I worked, and so I will greet you in that way today. I hope that you are finding ways to have joy and gratitude and hope as we move through these challenging times. One of the resources that I've found helpful is this book by Max Lucado called Anxious for Nothing. Several of us have used this in studies at Manhattan, and he has great wisdom about anxiety and uncertainty and how to deal with the natural emotions that result from those. Let me share a few words with you. He says, one would think Christians would be exempt from worry, but we are not. We have been taught that the Christian life is a life of peace. And when we don't have peace, we assume the problem lies within us. Not only do we feel anxious, but we feel guilty about our anxiety. The result is a downward spiral of worry, guilt, worry, guilt. But Paul in Philippians says, be anxious for nothing. Is that even possible? It's probably impossible to avoid the emotions of fear or anxiety. However, what is possible is to choose what we do in response to those emotions. He says here, anxiety is not a sin, it's an emotion. So don't be anxious about feeling anxious. Anxiety can, however, lead to sinful behavior. When we numb our fears with six-packs or food binges, or when we spew anger like a volcano, when we peddle our fears to anyone who will buy them. That's sin, and that we can avoid. So what can we do with our anxiety or our emotions of fear or concern that we have these days? Well, Max Lucado points us to Philippians 4 through 8, which I'll read to you now. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say rejoice. Let your gentleness be known to everyone. The Lord is at hand. Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God, and the peace of God that passes all understanding will guard your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Finally, brethren, and here's where the action comes in for you today. Whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there is any virtue, and if there is anything praiseworthy, meditate on those things. So here is the acronym that Max Lucado recommends for times such as these, as we seek to focus our minds on the things that are pure and lovely and encouraging and life-giving. Celebrate God's goodness. That's the C in the acronym. Ask God for help. That's the A. Leave your concerns with Him. That's the L. And finally, the M is meditate on good things. Think about the things that are good and worthy of praise. This forms the acronym CALM. And I pray for you today that you will use these steps to calm your anxiety, to calm your fears, and that you will find peace in the midst of turmoil. Let me close with a blessing for you today from a book called The Earth Gospel, which is a book of meditations as we approach Earth Day. I love to work with this little book of devotionals. And here is your blessing for today, based on Psalm 1, verse 3. May you stand like a tree, planted by a stream, bearing fruit in season. Your leaves never fading, your yield always plenty. May that be your experience this day and always. Amen.